Everybody, Invisiblekatana here with my review for the Super Mario Brothers movie. Of course, there will be spoilers, as the title says, in the second half of this review. Getting right into it, non-spoiler wise, it was really fun. It is super fast-paced. It is an hour and a half, and it's one of the few movies where it's like, there's always this spot where it's like, okay, high action beat, and then it's like, all right, the characters have to talk and figure some things out. They don't really have that in this movie. So when you go see it, pee in the beginning. If you have to end up peeing, just like pee in the beginning as early as you possibly can. Because once they get going, it's like you can kind of pee a little bit, like there's a couple, like maybe a second, half a second. But for the most part, you got to be in it. Unfortunately, it's only an hour and a half long. It shoots right through. It's just like, all right, here it is, point A to point B to point C, and it just keeps going, like right up until the end. It's like, all right, it's just moving. And I enjoyed it for that. Honestly, it was like, it was simple. It wasn't overly complicated. It wasn't like ridiculously additional emotion to, the characters in the game, which are probably the simplest of characters come from, as far as, within the realm of video games. It's Mario, honestly. I mean, that's just how it is. It is the same story over and over. It's like, all right, well, he's got to go rescue Princess Peach. Maybe every once in a while, it'd be like, okay, here's this hot lady from outer space called Rosalina. And that's about it. Princess Daisy gets ignored, but, hey, I'm not even going to touch on that, but hey, it is what it is. And it's entertaining. It's fun games. They're simple games, so to speak. And it's just like, it's Mario. That's just how it is. It just started from, the NES bringing games back in the States. And then, that's just kind of how it's been. Nintendo is here. Nintendo will always be here, I assume. And Mario is where it's at. Like, it's Nintendo, Mario. Mario might be more popular than the actual brand of Nintendo, in all honesty. And it's just like, all right, that's how it's been for decades at this point. It's Super Mario. And this movie was really good, and it captures all of that. It's like, all right, here is a buttload of stuff from the history of Mario. And then they're also like, but it's also like the first real Nintendo movie that's ever been made. Like, the closest we have before that, of course, I would have to assume you could technically only count the old Mario Brothers movie. I mean, that's really it. That's all we got. So it's the old Mario Brothers movie, and now the new Super Mario Brothers movie. It's like, all right, this one's better. This one's better. I love that old one. I've watched that a million times because I saw it as a kid growing up. So it was like, hey, for me, I like it. I enjoy it. This was better though, especially being the nerd that I am now, where, back then it was like, all right, here's a couple things, there's stuff in that movie that I just didn't even understand as a kid, where I'm like, oh, this is supposed to reference that, because a lot of the stuff is in live action, so it just makes no sense in that old movie. And then this is like, oh, that's this thing. Oh, here's this thing that's not even from Mario. They have references to a million things. I won't even bother going through a title, but my favorite has to be Punch Out, because I love Little Mac and Smash Brothers, and I like Punch Out in general, but Little Mac Smash Brothers is just, they gave me a brand new appreciation for like Punch Out because of that game. So, Punch Out being referenced, absolutely amazing. But there are a million other references. They have all the music is so good. Like, I cannot wait to hear this junk. I'm gonna illegally download it off of YouTube. I'm not even gonna lie, because I'm not spending money like that. But I'm gonna get the music somehow, because it's really, really good. Like, they have stuff from just generations of music, like all sorts of stuff, and it's really well done. Like, sometimes it's like kind of the main theme during an action sequence or just anything that's happening, and other times it's just like we just threw in like the couple of notes because we know that if you pay attention right here, here's like this song for this part from this specific game, which is like one of the most famous things ever, and it's like, just in case, here's an extra reference to make you understand what's happening right now. So I love that from beginning to end. Buttload of references, absolutely fantastic. Of course, if you've watched the trailers, you know that Donkey Kong is in it. He's really cool. Like, the whole Donkey Kong crew is pretty cool. Don't see much of them. It's mostly just, Donkey Kong is like the main focus. There's no way that they're not going to be expanding this and doing multiple films and creating, a full Nintendo universe and all that stuff. So I would love to see it. We'll see what ends up happening with that. But I'm like, all right, there's a lot of different properties and a lot of different levels of maturity, because you got Mario and Donkey Kong, and those guys are like, happy-go-lucky Illumination kids movies, and then it's like Legend of Zelda is like just a little step up, and if you get realistic with it, it's a huge step up. Like, Legend of Zelda can get very, very dark, and then you got obviously Metroid, and that can get super dark and like that's built on being like dark and mysterious and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see if they kind of touch on any of that stuff sooner rather than later. With Donkey Kong being in this, that was probably going to be kind of their first big step as far as spinoffs and stuff like that. But I'd love a sequel. I think it would be cool. I'd love to see a spinoff with Donkey Kong. I would love to see them, kind of opening the floodgates to allowing people to take this property that has been so well loved, all these properties, anything kind of Nintendo based, and just seeing what happens, because I think it would be very cool. So I'm looking forward to the future of Nintendo. It was great to see it. I'll admit, when it first started, my eyes kind of watered up a little, because I'm like, every time I see like video game movies where it's licensed by the company, like when I went to see Uncharted, despite not liking Uncharted nearly as much as I like this movie, it was amazing going to see that, because it was like, it did like the PlayStation logo thing in the beginning, and it was like, holy crap, it's like I'm seeing Aloy from Horizon, I'm seeing Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima, I'm seeing obviously Nathan Drake from Uncharted. It's like, it's crazy to see that, where it's like, these are the PlayStation logos. It's not like it's Sony, it's like that's an actual straight up PlayStation logo in a movie theater, and it felt really good to see that. And with this, it's just straight up Nintendo, and it's like, that's really cool to see. So personally, just giant gaming nerd that I am, that was really cool, because I love when that's a thing, and it's like the companies are 100% behind the films that they're putting out. Like I said, this turned out better than Uncharted, but hey, but I definitely enjoyed it, and I think that's all I can really say. I think, go out and see it. It's an hour and a half long. There is a post-credit sequence, so definitely check that out. I can't wait to see what they do. I think it's safe to say, compared to the first movie, which also has a post-credit sequence, I didn't know that for like nearly 20 years. Like the very first movie has a post-credit sequence where they tried. They did a cliffhanger. It's like, oh man, Daisy was the princess in that, by the way. And Daisy came back, was like, you're not gonna believe this, and it doesn't matter what they will or won't believe, because that movie never got a sequel. But this, I'm pretty sure it will. I'm pretty sure we're in good hands. I know the critic rating was low, but the audience score is super high. It's one of those things. It's like, it's a kid's movie, so I don't know what the critics could have possibly seen. I've heard wild stuff. I saw one. I haven't watched a review, but everybody's dogging it. And I can't remember the woman's name. I think her name was like Grace or something. And she said like the relationship seemed forced or something. And I was like, I'll have to see it in context. I'll watch her review later. But I saw that, and everyone's been, rightfully so, kind of just cooking her a little bit, and like, dang, they're brothers. I don't think you have to force that. But I enjoyed it. Definitely check it out. I think you'll have a great time with it, whether you're an adult, especially if you're a giant nerd like me. 100%, you're gonna love it. If you're into video games as deeply as I am, obviously, kind of tearing up at the beginning, like Nintendo on the big screen, you'll love it. Hands down. Like, you'll have a great time. Like, it's going to be a fun movie. You might not want to see it twice. I don't know. It just depends on how you feel about it as a whole. And like, definitely, I saw a lot of people mention the breakneck speed, and I was like, I'm really curious how accurate that is. It's very accurate. It's like, oh yeah, like, I didn't mind it personally, because I'm like, it's Super Mario Brothers. They can keep, just keep going from point A to point B, and it doesn't slow down. I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't need movies to go like up and down. I enjoyed the fact that it was basically up the entire time, because I liked all of the segments that they had. So it was really cool seeing that, and I think they did a good job with it. But it could bother you. It's definitely bothered other people, but for me, I was like, I think it fits perfectly, because it's so simplified. I think that's another reason why they were able to do that, because once again, Legend of Zelda, you can do that. You can't be like up here 100% of the time in the Legend of Zelda movie. It's not that happy. I'll just be honest. It ain't gonna be like that. You can't do that with Metroid. You can't do it with F-Zero unless the whole movie is races. You couldn't do it with Star Fox. Like, none of the properties you can really do that with, I feel like, outside of Mario, because everything else has much deeper characters. So I feel like it just works so much better here with Mario compared to anything else that it possibly could. Like I said, Donkey Kong could be like the next one where they could do that. But yeah, that's like the only place it would work. But definitely enjoyed it. It didn't bother me one bit that the pacing was kind of breakneck. It just kept on keeping on. And like I said, for me personally, I was like, all right, that's cool. More references, more music. The music was so good. Like I said, I'm gonna get it somewhere. I'm gonna get it. But that's all I can say non-spoiler wise. Definitely go check it out, because it'll be worth seeing for sure. Now, getting into spoilers, there are a million things to talk about. First off, Punch Out Pizzeria, absolutely amazing. I love that. I'm sure there are 100 million references that I didn't see. They did have the arcade that they were playing was Donkey Kong Jr., which I thought was interesting, because I saw a comment where somebody mentioned Cranky Kong saying that Donkey Kong is his son basically takes out Donkey Kong Jr. And I thought, oh, that's pretty interesting. I don't think it really matters that much in the grand scheme of things, because that was almost one of those weird things where it's like, is Cranky Kong the original Donkey Kong? Like, it wasn't even technically that for like quite a while, until so many people said it. Nintendo was like, definitely. So it's one of those things where I'm like, it does cut it out of the lore, but at the same time, does it really matter? Because it's not like like, it's not like it matters. Like, you don't see Donkey Kong Jr., you see Donkey Kong, and then you see Cranky Kong anyway. Like, they never show like the in-between. They don't show who Donkey Kong Jr. ever is in anything. It's Cranky, and then there's the new Donkey Kong. So I think them cutting them out is almost like they do it in the games anyway, so I don't see what difference it really makes. But I was like, okay, that's interesting. You know, Donkey Kong Jr. was the arcade that they were playing in there. Charles Martinet, of course, a lot of people wonder, like, all right, who's he gonna be? Like, where's he gonna be at? What's gonna happen with him? He is Giuseppe, I believe they said was the character's name, and he's also their dad, which I was very shocked by that one. I was like, I didn't expect that to be him because it didn't sound like him in that, but he did the, you know, the classic voice in the beginning there. And also, I assume Chris Pratt was doing the voice in the commercial when the movie first started, and I'm not gonna lie, I was super hyped. I was like, okay, this is good. And then he was like, you know, not too much on the accent. I was like, it wasn't bad though, you know, it wasn't bad at all, but I was definitely a little sad where I was like, that sounds legit like Mario. So I don't know if that was actually Chris Pratt doing it or if that was Charles Martinet doing the commercial voice, but I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Chris Pratt because it still sounded like it didn't sound like exact, but I was like, that sounds really close. So I don't know if it was, you know, kind of switching in and out or whatever, but I was like, that's really, really good. I'm excited. And then he was like, not too much on the accents, and I was like, dang. But it was still fine, you know, like ultimately going through the movie, he definitely did a decent job. And them even explaining it a bit, I thought that, you know, it was like, all right, you know, they put it in there where it's like, it's still like slightly elevated, it's Mario, but it's not, you know, classic Mario the entire time. But also the commercial, they had the capes, love that. He was, of course, the Super Mario Brothers super rap. Like, we saw this, if you watch that video, of course, that was already there. So I saw this sequence, and excuse me, I definitely enjoyed it, you know, seeing it again. So that was good. Donkey Kong being in this, Donkey Kong getting the Fire Flower, I think everybody thought was really interesting because it's like, haven't seen that one before. I loved all the different references and stuff, like getting, you know, classic mushroom, the poison, you know, I guess technically the poison mushroom is different than the shrinking mushroom, but that was super cool. It's like he had the blue one, and he of course he didn't know, and I was like, that's cool, they got the shrinking mushroom. So we got that, we got the Tanuki suit, we got the cat suit, we got fire and ice, which I thought was pretty cool. And obviously at the end they make it super epic, and both Mario and Luigi, much respect to that, because I was like, all right, they could do it where it's just Mario because, you know, it's Mario, but I'm like, they could do both. Like, they could let Mario and Luigi have it where they save the day together, and they totally do it, and I was super happy to see that. And they ended on the ultimate Smash Brothers like drop kick, where I was like, that's Smash Brothers, like the flames at their feet. So I was like, this is very Smash Brothers, and I absolutely love that. But, you know, them beating people up and running super speed and everything, fantastic. So I loved all of that, all the references, all the visuals. We didn't see the sun. I was really hoping that when they went to the desert, it was going to be longer than it was, because I think in the trailer they kind of show that sequence where they go through some of the lands, and it was the exact amount of time, and I thought, oh, it's shorter for the trailer, but it'll be like an extra couple of seconds, and that sun's just going to be there somewhere in the background, just like just coming in. Sadly, we did not get the creepy looking sun. I was a little upset by that. I was like, dang, I really wanted to see that sun. But still cool that they had all those references, seeing all the different locations. The maps were of different styles throughout the game. So of course we got, you know, Super Mario World style map when they did it originally, where it was like kind of three-dimensional. That was very cool as well. We got all the Yoshis, like that little kick when they had the Yoshis running. They of course played the Super Mario World theme song, because that's where Yoshi truly became famous. So I was like, that's amazing. They had, I think it was when they did the Nintendo opening, it was the level winning thing, like, you know, on the flag. So that was super cool. They did the little 2D segment when they were running through the city, so that was also very cool. All the references I think were absolutely amazing. Like I said, again, the music, it was so good. I just wasn't expecting to enjoy the music as much as I did. I wish we got more of Bowser's theme. I thought that would have been cool. They do it in the credits, but I wish we got that in the movie. And if they did, I totally missed it, but I highly doubt I can miss it. That's one of the few things that I've always really loved from the series, because it was just, you know, so once again, Super Mario World, it was just one of those themes that always really stuck out to me. So I definitely enjoyed that. We got Rainbow Road, we got Mario Kart, we kind of got a little bit of the Double Dash. I was hoping for like half a second they were gonna have to take a real sharp turn, and it was like, I'm gonna need you to lean with me. I was like, man, if they just throw it in there for half a second, that would have been sweet, just to specifically reference Double Dash. But love that. I love them, you know, going through making all the different vehicles. So Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, and Baby Peach. I felt like Mario and Luigi looked more like themselves than Peach did, because I think they made it where Peach wasn't like baby Peach. She was actually like a little kid. She still had her pacifier, but they seemed a lot smaller, even though technically they were older than babies. But they're driving the cars in the game, so none of that matters. But Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Baby Peach, very cool. And like they even had it with like the little dot eyes and stuff. I was like, this is exact. So that was absolutely amazing. I loved all of that. I was surprised that they had a full-on family. That shocked me, but that was definitely cool. Their one brother, especially they showed it at the end when they were all eating. I was like, he really is just a taller Luigi, which I thought was really funny. But I liked all of that with their family and stuff, and them kind of just being normal, real people. It was weird seeing their hands. I will say that, because they took the gloves off, and I was like, it's his real fingers. It's like, you know, the stuff with Kirby, like, does he have toes? Like, what's going on with that? Like, what, you know, Sonic, and you know, like, you know, it's all that stuff. So I was like, you know, it feels funny, you know, seeing him without the hat. We've seen that before. Like, that's been a thing. So I was like, oh, that actually is how he looks. And I think in Odyssey, that's really how he looks when he doesn't have the hat on. I was like, that's like, you know, exact, like just the way his hair was out. And I was like, the fingers though, that was different. That was a little weird for me, but I liked everything they did with that. I don't know why they put that like super evil dog in, but that was really funny, especially at the end of the movie when they saved the city and the dog's looking at him was like, I'm like, why did they do that? But it was super funny to me. I was like, I don't know why they put that in there, but I thought that was funny. So I loved everything about the movie from beginning to end. I would love to see them do, like I said, the other franchises. They did have, of course, a reference to Star Fox when Mario is actually playing on the NES. So they have the ship, you know, Fox's ship up on top of the TV. So that was really cool. I'm sure there are a million other things in there that I didn't notice, because I was trying to look, like every time there was something where they were like at home, or there's, you know, whenever there's pictures and stuff in the background, I was like, what is this? What is this? Yeah, I was just trying to look at stuff as I was listening to the character. So I'm sure there are a million other things that I missed that you can watch other YouTube videos on to be like, here's 178 references and Easter eggs you didn't see. So definitely love the movie for sure, top to bottom. I thought it was enjoyable. I'm excited to see what they do with the future. Obviously the post-credit sequence ending with Yoshi, I thought was really cool. Bowser's Song, I thought it was funny. That was just a full Jack Black moment, him doing it in the movie and then him doing like the little mid-credit sequence as well. Definitely funny. So I enjoyed that. I'm sure that will be somewhere they're gonna have the full version of that song, so it's probably on YouTube right now. So I'm definitely gonna look that up, because I thought that was really funny. Peaches. So that was really good. I like the fact that they put him in the suit. They had him in the suit from Super Mario Odyssey. He had the hat, and I was like, are they gonna do the full suit? So they did the suit. That was really cool. He has no kids in this, which probably would have had to come along with yet another explanation of just how the worlds kind of work, because in this they are 100% like, hey, Mario and Luigi are from our normal Earth dimension. So is Peach. She just happened to get lost for whatever reason as a tiny little baby. She was in the sewer. It is what it is. But I like how they did that. And then of course them actually coming back to the real world, you know, at the very end, I thought was definitely interesting. So I'm really curious to see how that works as well, because I feel like that was yet another thing in the old movie that technically also happens, where they use the Super Scope, the Super Nintendo Super Scope, to turn the dude back into a dinosaur, because it's like a de-evolutionizer. They call it something weird like that, and it basically reverts you back to like your ancestral DNA. So people, you know, turn humans back into monkeys. Everyone from the Mushroom Kingdom spawned from reptiles. The old movie is very weird. When the comets hit Earth, it like split the world into like 2 dimensions. So there's like our dimension, and it was normal and everything, and then like the other half is like on the other side of the Earth / dimension is where dinosaurs developed. So if you didn't know, that is the original plot of the old film. The comet hit and basically split Earth into like 2 dimensions that are like sitting on top of each other. Monkeys spawn this way with humans, reptiles spawn this way with the Mushroom Kingdom. Very weird film. Highly recommend you check out the old one too. But absolutely love this one. I feel like there's not much else to say. I think that was pretty much everything. Like, there's so many little things here and there. Obviously all the kart stuff was cool. The fight was definitely entertaining. I mean, them going underwater, that was cool. You know, that was much shorter than I thought it was going to be, but that was definitely a cool segment. All the action I thought was really well done as well, as far as, you know, them being on Rainbow Road and jumping through the different carts and stuff like that. Of course, I was like, what are they going to do? Like, I knew the guy was the blue shell, because I'm like, he's blue, he's got the wings. I'm like, how are they going to do it with his character? And he was like Terminator, like they blew up the truck, and then he was just in the flames and just walked out of the flames. I'm like, this is a really intense sequence for this character. And it's like, you can't escape me, blue shell. So I love how they did that. He actually, like, you know, goes around them and then self-detonates and stuff. And I was like, that's very cool. So I love the way they did all of that stuff, all the references here and there. Just the creatures and stuff, Toad was super funny. everything they did. I just enjoyed it top to bottom. I thought it was really fun. So we'd love to know what you guys thought about the movie. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, least favorite parts about it. Shameless plug to my streaming channel where I'm playing much darker games like Resident Evil 4. Check that out if you guys are interested. I just beat it recently, but you can actually check out the stream on here. Like I do all my full quality uploads on here on my main channel. But love it if you guys would join me for streaming. I probably won't get to stream until Monday, but I'll be doing Mercenaries. So if you guys are interested in RE4, I'll be doing Mercenaries on Monday. If I don't have the opportunity Saturday, I may or may not, but I kind of doubt it. But Monday for sure, I'm going to be playing Mercenaries. So definitely check that out if you guys are interested. Check out my old streams. Like I said, they're uploaded here. If you go to my streaming channel, which links in the description, all that stuff, it'll be on the end title card and everything. I also have a bunch of old games before I was actually streaming, just regular Let's Play. So check all that stuff out if you guys are interested. Most of that old stuff is also 420 videos as well. So definitely enjoy if you guys are interested. But like I said, we'd love to know what you guys thought about this movie. Going forward, do you want a Mario sequel next? Do you want Donkey Kong? Do you want them to just be like, hey, screw it, we're jumping into Legend of Zelda, we're jumping into, I don't think they'll do F-Zero. No offense to F-Zero. Excuse me. They don't respect it game wise. I don't think we'll see F-Zero, just saying. But you know, Samus, Link, Zelda, all them, I think that would be something that they could do. I would love to see Legend of Zelda. Personally, that would be my number one pick because of how dark it can be. Like Samus is obviously in space, it's meant to be spooky and scary. Legend of Zelda is dark because people are just dying. Like it's a different type of dark. So if they can do like a dark version, which they probably won't because it's Nintendo, but if they did a dark version, if they were like Twilight Princess style, I'd be all over that because I like the darker stuff I actually really enjoy. And despite what Samus does, Legend of Zelda feels like the darkest version. Like we've had like how many versions of Link are technically dead or not dead or zombies? We're, you know, all that stuff. Like people be dying all over the place, Legend of Zelda. So I'd like to see that personally because I'd like a darker story, but I don't think we did like that dark. You know, who knows? We'd love to see your, thoughts and opinions on the movie and the universe going forward. We'll probably just go straight into a sequel. I think that's the easiest thing. Let's do Mario 2, add Yoshi in. I would assume they would tease at the end Rosalina. If they do, the teaser or post-credit sequence of 2 would be leading to Rosalina, which I assume that the little dude, was definitely one of her Lumas. I don't know if they're all called Lumas. That's just what I call them. But I'm like, that has to be what he is. He's the only one in the movie, and so I don't know why he's so dark. And then poof, saxophone at the end. But I'm like, all right, that has to be your reference to just be like, hey, they're out. She's out there somewhere. So I would assume that would be like movie number 3. But there's so many Nintendo properties, so much they can do. Go into a Donkey Kong movie, have cameos from the other characters, all that sorts of stuff. So who knows? They could be expanding on some crazy stuff here. I think the animation was fantastic. I didn't mention that, but I really did love how the animation looked. There's some parts where I was like, some of this stuff just looks real. Like when it would just be like an object or something, I was like, that just looks like an actual chair, or that just looks like actual concrete. There's just a couple of moments here and there I was like, that just looked really realistic. So loved everything about it. Like I said, though, I want to know your thoughts on the movie, future of, I guess it's going to be a franchise, a movie franchise, where you guys want to see all of that go. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.